Welcome back, guys. So we have the March stream recap this time, and we're going to be going over the slides shown in the Square Enix stream the other day if you missed it. So this video won't be as in-depth as the March overview video, but I'll be touching on each event and going through each of the Square Enix stream slides. So starting off, we have Yuri and Onion Knight coming up with their EX+. So Yuri, again, like I mentioned, is very high priority for newer players. For veterans, he's not really necessary because he's not the best damage dealer. He does heal and he has some party battery as well, but he's not super necessary. He doesn't do that much damage compared to a true damage dealer like Aranea, who's completely busted. Onion Knight is pretty good because unlike Yuri, he actually enchants and imperils for the party, so he can help you guys a lot in FEOD 8 and other stages that resist weapon types, whereas Yuri only enchants wholly for himself. So that's a distinguishable feature between the two. And then we'll be getting a free first draw here, as well as the Cosmos co-op quests. They always come with Awakening Waves and the raid events, so look forward to that. Next up is Lulu event. Now, a lot of people are actually surprised at how I ranked Lulu being low. So the reason I rank her low priority and not higher, like middle potentially, is because she's kind of an in-between unit. So her role is enchanting and imperiling units, but she's not quite a support unit, she's not quite a DPS unit, so she falls in the in-between stance, and that means she doesn't heal the party, she doesn't battery the party. So if you bring Lulu, you're gonna have to bring a support unit as well, but then you could just omit Lulu for another damage dealer. Do you see what I'm saying? So you could bring Rosa or Penelo or Y'shtola for her slot, and then just bring 2 damage dealers instead, because if you bring Lulu, you'll have to pretty much bring support to support her and the other party member. Because Chaos stages, they do a lot of HP attacks, they do a lot of damage, and Lulu doesn't help you with mechanics, she's just offensive buff, right? More damage. So that's why I rank her as low priority, if that was not clear in the video. So she comes with Jet, so Jet again is pretty low, no party utility, just good damage. But I think Jet is limited by his number of hit counts. He didn't get a rework, so he's just hitting pretty much the same damage as he did in Cosmos era. So that's why I rank Jet as low. Now moving on, we have Camlin Naut. Now moving on, we have Camlin Naut, or Camlin No, however you want to say his name, I don't know how it's said. He's a very clunky kit character, as I said in my overview video. Essentially, he is like a debuffer unit, but he's also ice element, and he's very clunky to play. He has stacks. His debuff only lasts for 1 turn. He needs to be targeted. He can't get broken. If he does get broken, then he won't debuff the enemy. Very clunky character. Some other content creators have been hating on this guy, so I don't actually recommend that you guys pull for him unless he is a favorite. That would be the only reason. I just don't see him being used to handle mechanics in any type. If you want to debuff enemies, you can just bring reliable debuffers. We have Sarah, we have Vanille. You could bring mitigation, we have tanks, we have Warrior of Light, Bosch. You don't really need his in-between clunky kit. As for Shantoto is the same as she's always been, a magic damage dealer. She gets more AoE damage now with her EX Plus being AoE. She imperils all elements now, not just her own elements, so her EX Plus does give her that upgrade. So she can work nicely, it's just that she doesn't have party utility outside of that imperil. She doesn't enchant your party. So you'll have to either build around her or bring units that can take advantage of the elemental weakness. But other than that, yeah, she's not totally necessary. She is in the EX token shop for you guys, if that's a choice that you're making. So for me, like, she is an option, but I'm either thinking between Onion Knight, Shantoto, or Lael. Those are the 3 competitive choices that I have left. Everybody else I pretty much have or I don't care about, like Furion. Don't really care about him, sorry. Furion fans. Yeah, so I'm just waiting right now. I don't think I'll build up Shantoto. She doesn't get another rework this time. She got one back in Cosmos era, so she's doing the same thing as she was back then. So her potencies are the same pretty much. I think she's okay. Her freaks cast is pretty fast, so that could save her. But other than that, you guys can pretty much pass on Shantoto. Now moving on to Pandemonium Summon. So the thing to point out with this slide is the level 100 co-op quest that's coming with this event, which is actually early and global. So I believe they didn't start getting this until Odin Summon in JP, which is like months down the road. So we got this early. I just hope they also bring Cosmos co-ops early for character events, because that's what global pretty much wants. You know, not much content outside of just doing the events real quick and then you're done. Outside of Heretics, outside of raid events where they do have Cosmos co-ops, everything else is kind of done relatively quickly, so I'm hoping that they do bring Cosmos co-ops here. So we have two heavy hitters, we have Edge and Penelo. So let's start off with Penelo, very strong character. She is a clear high priority for the month, very powerful. I kind of rate her a step above Rosa, for those who were unimpressed by Rosa. She has very similar auras, she has huge batteries, she has a great utility, large brave regen as well. So for those who were impressed by Rosa, I think you'd be pretty impressed by Penelo as well. And for those who were sticking with Vistolo, you could still find use for Penelo, because Penelo does do some high battery for your party as well. She's a great option all around. And then we have Edge. So Edge is an evasion utility character for your party. So if you have the step buff on with the EX, then the whole party will evade any kind of attack unless it's a true strike attack. So he has great use there. He also has party aura for your team. It's pretty high. It's 40% attack, 30% max bravery. Not a bad choice at all. Great utility. I've heard he's actually been able to complete some Lufinias in JP as well to help your party evade those attacks. So he's very clutch at times. Very worth pulling. But I don't give him high priority because he doesn't really have too much damage. He has some problems with longevity, so that's why he's kind of middle priority, guys. Now Entropy tier 8. So this one's going to be tricky because the whole thing resists range, so Aranea is pretty much out of the picture unless you're bringing Lulu, but that means you have to pull for Lulu. Wave 2, they resist all weapon types unless you hit them with their specific weakness at that moment in time. So they start off being weak to fire. If you bring Ifrit and you summon right away, then they are open to all weapon types. So you can bring like Ultimecia and just summon and do, you know, a lot of damage and just burst them down. Because their HP, they don't have a lot of it. It's balanced throughout all the waves. So they're not going to be taking that much damage. You can do a burst strategy. But enchanting or imperiling your way through this is probably the best bet, because you have a limited window after you hit them with Ifrit. I think they have 4 turns before they change to a different color type. And then after that point, you'll either have to use battery or use your enchant and peril strategies to get around it. So that is Entropy tier 8. Now moving on, we have Lan and Rain. Lost Chapters. So just to put it bluntly, they're not too impressive. Like I said, they have limited overflow. Not much overflow in the EX, not much overflow in the HP+. They are also kind of stomped out by Aranea, who does a lot of AoE damage. She kind of leaves them in the dust. They're not a great choice to build up. They have a lot of elements, but they imperil their elements, so that's not a big factor against them. It's just that they're not doing that much damage to begin with. So along with this event, we have Edgar rework. Edgar is a debuffer now. He can inflict stronger debuffs. You can inflict them easily to all enemies. But that's about it. He doesn't have any other role outside of that. He doesn't have any other auras. So he just does melee damage and he does some debuffs. And then we have Kieran over here. Kieran is another clunky character, I would say. He has stack-based mechanics. He has aura for your team. His aura is going to fluctuate because it's dependent on his own current stacks. He's not really a good unit overall, because he's a damage dealer. He's not pure support. He doesn't have healing. He doesn't have battery. So that's why he's kind of low priority. But we do have Lael. So Lael is great utility, very powerful. He does have an aura as well from his old EX weapon. So Lael, I think, is going to be on the middle priority. His EX plus basically gives him more damage, more overflow, more stats. And that's about it for Lael. He doesn't need much ingots. You guys can leave him at 1 and he could do the same work as he did back in Cosmos era. Now batch 9 coming up on March 27. So they previewed this. This is the first time they previewed the next Awakening wave on the stream. This is because the next stream is coming after this wave on March 30th, so that's why they're doing it. So I left out Papalimo and Seymour on my last video, but I'll touch on them this time. I did look into the kit briefly. I think Papalimo is an okay damage dealer. I wouldn't say he's like high priority mage compared to what we already have, like Artemisia, Emperor. So he's okay. Same thing with Seymour. Seymour, I wouldn't say he's top priority as well. He has some low potency attacks on his abilities, even though he gets 1.5 weakness modifier when he's hitting debuffed enemies. But overall, each hit is kind of low potency, and I don't think Seymour is going to be able to compete that much. He doesn't have too many brave hits on his abilities. His debuffs do get a little bit stronger, but they're not too fantastic anyway. So I rate both of them at low priority at the end of the day, because next month we do have some heavy hitters coming up. We have General Leo, we have Vayne, Beatrix, Paladin Cecil is very strong as well. So these guys are going to have to compete with those monsters, and I'm going to have to start them off with a low priority ranking. Okay, next up is Spring Festival. Spring Festival, this is probably going to be where we're getting Selfie's X Plus with the limited time Abyss. So this is limited time, this is not the permanent Abyss. Permanent Abyss is probably coming next month in April, and they're still finalizing this, so we don't really know what it is. Josh says looks forward to it. I think it's going to be Selfie's X Plus and probably a repeat EX Plus weapon. Yeah, and we are getting some free draws there, but who knows what they could be. Could be anything. So that's it, that's all the slides for March. Let me know down below what content you guys are looking forward to doing. For me, it's going to be the limited time Abyss. It's going to be hopefully getting Yuri, hopefully getting Penelo, and blasting through content with them. And just let me know what you guys are excited for in March, or did you think this month was meh or hoard for burst? So let me know. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.